customers come. Soon there's only one fish left hanging on the stall in its plastic bag, and only a couple left swimming in the tank with the 13th fish. Stan's sad, so many have gone, but he's pleased as well. He's been hatching what he thinks is the perfect plan. Mr. Dostoevsky, he says. Aye, lad. I was thinking, now all the fish are nearly gone. Aye, lad. Well, I thought maybe we could offer different kinds of prizes. Different prizes? Yeah, like cuddly toys, bags of sweets. Cuddly toys? Bags of sweets? Says Dostoevsky. He looks at Stan in astonishment and shakes his head. You really have got to learn. It's tradition, lad. You hook a black and duck at Dostoevsky's and you get a fish. It's how it is. It's how it's been and how it will always be. But Mr. Dostoevsky, there's hardly any fish left. So we get some more. Stan holds him up. Holds up his hands. But where from, Mr. Dostoevsky? From the goldfish supplier? Stan looks blank. What goldfish supply, he asks. Dear, dear, dear. From the goldfish supplier at the fair. Stan just stares at him. Listen, Stan, every fair has got a goldfish supplier. Where else do you think all the goldfish come from? Thin air? I don't know, admits Stan. Exactly. You've got a lot to learn, but I suppose that's how it has to be. Dostoevsky takes Stan's money belt from him and gives Stan a handful of coins. Find the supplier and buy some more fish. Stan looks across the crowded field. Where is the supplier? He says. Ain't got a clue. Somewhere. Finding him will be part of your training. And how much should I get? Asked Stan. Half a shoal. Half a shoal? But how many is in a shoal? How should I know? Seems to depend on how the fish is feeling on the day. There's tiny shoals, medium-sized shoals, and shoals as big as the sea. Tell him you're buying for Dostoevsky and the supply will help you out. How much do I pay? Dostoevsky shrugged. Same thing. Tell him they're for me and you'll get a proper price. He puts his hand on his hips. That's enough questions, lad. Go on. Off you go. You won't give the 13th fish away, says Stan. No, Stan. You promise? You want me to sign a certificate? Stan shakes his head. Go on then, says Dostoevsky. Okay, says Stan. He turns away. Cuddly toys, mutters Dostoevsky. Bags of blooming sweets. Chapter 20. As Stan walks through the fair, he has the weirdest feeling he's being watched. He looks around, but there are just the usual kids and dogs and families and stallholders. Every now and then, someone waves or calls his name. He waves back. He keeps on walking. He keeps on having the feeling there's one pair of eyes that's picked him out from all the people at the fair. One pair of eyes that's following him. It's not a scary feeling. It's just a bit weird. He looks for signs of the goldfish supplier. A woman outside the haunted house pulls a pair of fangs from her mouth and says, You seem a bit lost. He tells her what he's looking for. Fish, she says. Can't help you there, lad. There's no call for fish in the fiend and phantom trade, unless they're dead, of course. She puts the fangs back in, raises her clawed hands, howls like a wolf, and pretends to chase him off. Stan carries on. I'm Tickle Peter, says a man who comes to walk at his side. I'm Stan, says Stan. Do you know where the goldfish supplier is? Make me laugh, and I might tell you. Stan stops to look at him, and looks at him. Peter is wearing leopard skin trunks, a pair of silver braces. On his head is a pointed hat with Tickle Peter and make him laugh and win £100 written on it. He holds out a bag. Only costs £1. Use one of the feathers or a stick or a leaf or whatever you want. Tickle me, make me laugh, and you'll win £100. Then I'll tell you what you don't know about the fella you're looking for. Tickle Peter goes silent. His face is glum. He waits for Stan to respond. Stan thinks about the pound. Is it right to spend £1 to try and get the information? Or you can tell me a joke, if you know any, says Peter. He sighs. I haven't laughed for 20 years. Go on, Stan. Make me laugh. Stan puts his hand into his pocket, takes out a pound coin and gives it to Peter. Why did the monkey fall out of the tree, he says. It's the only joke he knows. He remembers it from those far-off days at school. He remembers laughing and laughing when he heard it. I don't know, says Tickle Peter. His face turns even glummer. He sighs. Why did the monkey fall out of the tree? Because it was dead, cries Stan. Peter sighs again. Is that it? He says. Yeah, says Stan. Have you heard it before? Once or twice. Listen, I'm feeling generous. You can tell me another one. Stan looks down. You don't know any more, do you? Says Peter. Stan shakes his head. Try a tickle then. Peter holds out the bag again. Stan chooses a long, brightly coloured feather. Peter raises his arms and Stan tickles his armpits. He tickles him behind the knees. He tickles him on the chest, the legs and on the neck. Peter doesn't move. His face turns even glummer. Enough, he says at last. I thought you might have it in you, Stan, but clearly you haven't. What a disappointment. Stan puts the feather back in the bag. It's my living, explains Peter. I've made a fortune from all the pounds I've taken over the years, but I would give it all away if only I could laugh. He shrugs and turns to go. Maybe I'll see you around, Stan. You could still tell me about the goldfish supplier, says Stan. Peter pauses. I could. Go on then, please. Okay. I don't know anything about any goldfish supplier. But you said... I said I'd tell you what I know about the bloke you're looking for, and what I know is nothing. Tickle Peter watches Stan. See what happens when you don't laugh for 20 years? See what happens when you make your living by tricking and cheating? You turn cruel and bitter, Stan. That's what happens. Goodbye. Stan kicks the grass. He spits, he spins around. And there right behind him, where before there was just an empty space, is a sign stuck into a post that's been stabbed into the earth. Directions to the goldfish supplier. Past the clattering dodgems, beyond the penny falls, first right at the Ferris wheel, past the groaning wrestling booth, where you must call out in a loud voice, "Pin him down, Thunderer!" Then eat a piece of boar at the Wild Boar Cookhouse and head for the tent, which looks like the world. Whistle, "It's a long way to Tipperary," and there you will be. Chapter 21. Stan follows the directions. They take him through the heart of the fair. The wrestling booth has a great arched entrance decorated with paintings of ancient wrestlers. The painted wrestlers wear masks, capes, some pose with their arms folded, others with their arms raised to show off their muscles. They grapple with each other. They fly, feet first, through the air. There's a great roar from the hidden crowd inside the booth. There are loud gasps of horror and astonishment. There's a sudden silence in the roar, into which Stan calls, "Pin him down, Thunderer!" Then came a great round of cheering and applause, and a victory has obviously been won. Stan walks on and finds himself at the Wild Boar Cookhouse. A whiskery man, who looks like a boar himself, leans down from the counter and holds out a piece of meat. "Have a chop, sonny," he grunts. Stan takes it from the man's hairy hand. He chews the delicious meat, licks the delicious juices from his lips. "It's lovely enough," growls the boar man. "It is." "What ye after?" says the boar man. "A 10. The boar man grunts. "Have you heard the tale about the man that ate the boar?" Stan shakes his head. "He ended up as a boar himself." "Have you heard the tale about the boar that ate the man?" "It ended up as a man itself?" Maybe it would have. Maybe it should have. That would make sense. Nah, it was hunted down and shot. That's a pity, says Stan, thinking about the family of the boar. Is it? Says the bull man. Turned out very tasty. He points to the meat in Stan's hand. As you can testify yourself. Now here's another. Have you heard the tale of the tent that looked like the world? Stan shakes his head. It ended up looking nowt like a tent. Stan swallows the last of the meat. He licks his fingers. What does that mean? He says. It means you should be whistling by now. Stan starts whistling It's a Long Way to Tipperary, and a man appears from among the trees and beckons Stan towards him. Are you the goldfish supplier? Asks Stan. Do I look like a goldfish supplier? Asks the man. I don't know. Then what do I look like? I don't know. Like a man? Like a man. That's good. You can stop whistling that horrible tune now. Come along. And the man reaches toward a tree and draws it towards him. And Stan realises what looks like trees is in fact the canvas wall of a tent with images from trees, the earth and sky on them. I thought it was trees, Stan gasps. Behind him the bald man snuffles and grunts. Of course you did, says the man at his side. You thought it was trees, you thought it was the world. It is not. It is just a tent. Now hurry up and get inside. My name is Mr. Smith, by the way. I'm Stan, says Stan. Come along, says Mr. Smith. We're going to stop it there. Chapter 22 next.